Chosen one, what you are about to hear is not by chance. It is not the result of an algorithm or a casual scroll. This moment is holy. This connection is sacred. If these words are reaching you now, it is because heaven is speaking directly into your atmosphere, your situation, your soul. You've been sensing it for weeks now, an invisible pressure in the air, a holy unease in your spirit, a shift you can't explain but can no longer ignore. That is not anxiety. It is spiritual anticipation. It is divine alignment. And you are not lost. You are being located. You are not merely in a season. You are in a supernatural shift. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for in silence. The months of wondering, the nights of weeping, the mornings of questioning if God still sees you, they have all been leading here. You are not entering breakthrough. You have already stepped into it. You're not hoping for acceleration. You're already moving in it. The blessings that felt delayed have always been divinely timed. The doors that once resisted you are now opening before you arrive. What was withheld is being released. What was blocked is being broken. The spiritual dam is giving way. And the flood that's coming, it's not to drown you, it's to deliver you. You are not crossing into something new. You are being pulled into what was always written for you. You don't need to qualify. You don't need to beg. The grace that positioned you is the same grace that now propels you. The shift is not external, it's internal, it's spiritual, it's already begun. And so, beloved, I ask you, are you awake? Are you aligned? Are you aware? Because what's coming next will not just change your circumstances, it will awaken your calling. This is not a prophecy for the crowd. This is a direct word for the chosen. Those who have walked through fire and didn't curse it. Those who have stood alone and didn't break. Those who kept worshiping when no one else was watching. That's who this is for. That's who you are. And now heaven is saying, prepare. The world is shifting, but not at random. This is orchestration. This is design. This is divine unraveling so divine rebuilding can begin. Just like Noah before the flood, you've been warned ahead of the rain. Just like Esther before the kingdom shook, you've been placed here for such a time as this. Look around. Political unrest, economic shaking, natural signs that defy logic. These are not chaos. They are the contractions of heaven. The Spirit is pressing through the earth, and you are not watching it from the outside. You are at the very center of it. This is not about fear. This is about foresight. It's not about panic. It's about purpose. God never shifts the world without first preparing his people. Amos 3:7 says, "Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants the prophets." You are being revealed to now because your role is critical. You are no longer being hidden. You are being handed the mantle. This moment demands more than belief. It demands obedience. It demands that you release every distraction, every delay, every fear that has entangled your feet and muted your roar. You've been spiritually full but functionally silent. That ends now. The world does not need more noise. It needs more truth. And you were never called to echo culture. You were called to carry heaven. There is an energy rising in your body right now, and it is not adrenaline. It is alignment. You are sensing the divine signal in your cells, your blood, your breath. That is not random. That is the Spirit of the living God calling you to attention. God is not just speaking to you. He is summoning you. He is not just comforting you. He is commissioning you. You were born for this convergence. Your awakening is not accidental. Your resistance has not been in vain. Every battle was calculated to bring you here. Every loss, every delay, every closed door was preparation. You have not been overlooked. You've been fortified. And now you will begin to notice it. The fog will lift. The dreams will sharpen. The people who once fit will fall away. And the clarity that once felt elusive will come suddenly, swiftly, and unmistakably. You are entering a space where what once took years will happen in weeks. What once required striving will now flow. This is not optimism. This is obedience manifesting in reality. You are entering April, but spiritually, you are entering your divine assignment. You will begin to feel different. You will begin to sense new weight on your words. You'll no longer just receive prophetic words. You'll speak them. You'll no longer just seek confirmation. You will become the confirmation for others. And as heaven positions you, understand this. Favor is not a feeling. It is a function. It's not for vanity. It's for victory. What God is doing in your life is not just for you. It is for the people waiting on the other side of your obedience. You are the answered prayer of someone you haven't met yet. You are the light at the end of someone's darkness. You are the signpost on someone's road to surrender. So take this moment seriously. The next days are not ordinary. They are prophetic. You'll see signs. You'll feel shifts. And every time you wonder, is this really for me? Remember this. God doesn't waste words, and He never sends a signal without a reason. Chosen one, comment below, I walk in divine alignment. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Bible Peak. This is not just a broadcast. This is your burning bush moment. And the same God who spoke to Moses from the fire is speaking to you now. Rise, align, obey. This is the season that everything changes, not because you forced it, but because heaven has released it. Chosen one, when heaven moves, it doesn't wait for your comfort. It doesn't check your schedule. It doesn't explain its strategy. God is not obligated to walk you through the blueprint before He starts construction. When it's time to shift, He shifts. And when He shifts, things break, things shake, things leave, and yes, sometimes it feels like loss. But what looks like chaos to your heart is perfect order in His hands. You've been sensing it. The sudden endings, the unexpected silence from people who once celebrated you, the doors that slammed without warning, the favor that seemed to vanish, the places where you once thrived that now feel foreign. That wasn't failure. That was divine interruption. Because when God is realigning your life, He doesn't start with what's easy. He starts with what's necessary. He doesn't remove what's painful. He removes what's poisonous, even if it's familiar, even if it once felt like home, even if your emotions were tied to it. Because God is not committed to your feelings. He's committed to your future. And if your future is too heavy for where you are now, then heaven will begin breaking things down until your life can carry the next level. He's not punishing you. He's preparing you. He's not being silent to frustrate you. He's quiet so He can get your full attention. Because what you're stepping into cannot be cluttered with the noise of yesterday. You've prayed for clarity. You've asked for next steps. But clarity often comes through collision. And the next step often begins with a door that closes in your face. God is not just a comforter. He is a disruptor. Jesus walked into temples and flipped tables. He offended systems. He provoked spirits. He left crowds confused and religious leaders speechless. So why are you surprised that your obedience is now creating discomfort? Heaven is rearranging your life, not because you're out of position, but because you're finally aligned enough to move. And that movement requires the shedding of what's excessive. People who once served your growth are no longer assigned. Places that once felt like destiny are now draining your discernment. Routines that once built you are now blocking you. It's not regression. It's refinement. The shaking is not to break you. It's to break everything that was never meant to follow you into the next place. You are being positioned for something so heavy with purpose that God is clearing the path in advance. This isn't judgment. This is mercy in motion. He's not letting you waste another season tied to what no longer honors your anointing. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, you'll miss what was. Yes, your flesh will beg for the familiar, but your spirit knows. This is necessary. This is the moment where God doesn't ask for your vote. He issues the verdict, and the verdict is, move forward. Let go. I'm doing something new, and it begins with removal. You will feel the weight of certain exits. You will grieve the absence of voices you once leaned on. You will notice the loneliness increase right before the acceleration hits. But that's how God moves. Before the crowd hears it, the called feel it. Before the platform appears, the process intensifies. Before the breakthrough explodes, the pruning gets deeper. And make no mistake, this pruning isn't punishment, it's promotion. In disguise, Jesus said, "Every branch in me that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it may bear more fruit." That means your productivity invited the pruning. God saw how faithful you were with the last level, and now he's removing everything that would slow down the harvest at the next one. You are not being diminished. You're being made more effective. You are not being punished. You're being purified. You are not being emptied. You are being prepared. The doors that slammed shut didn't end you, they freed you. The people who walked away didn't abandon you, they released you. The confusion that wrapped around your mind was not weakness. It was the unraveling of every lie you believed about. Your worth, your value, your voice. God is clearing the stage so only his glory remains. No more idols. No more counterfeit coverings. No more emotional anchors that keep you tied to who you used to be. You are being extracted from the crowd because you were never called to fit in. You are being pulled out from the noise because your voice is too holy to be drowned out by trends. You are being stripped down because God only clothes empty vessels. This is the wilderness of reintroduction. The eye breaking before the revealing. The silence before the announcement. And when he announces you, it will not be with a whisper. It will be with weight. Your life will speak. Your deliverance will prophesy. Your story will shake foundations. Because what you thought was disqualification was actually your consecration. You were being marked. While they watched you weep, heaven was crowning you. While they counted you out, heaven was appointing you. And now the rearrangement is almost done. The last pieces are shifting. The final ties are being cut. And soon, you will see why the shaking had to happen, why the silence had to fall, why the separation had to sting, because in just a moment, you will step into a space that was custom-made for the version of you God preserved in pain. And when you step in, you won't have to explain anything. The oil will speak, the glory will confirm it, and the ones who doubted it will be left in awe. So, don't resist the rearranging. Don't mourn the shaking. Don't fear the letting go. Because what looks like a loss now is making room for everything God promised. Chosen one, now that God has rearranged what no longer aligned with your purpose, now that the divine pruning has made room for the new, you must understand what's next. You're not going back to pick up where you left off. You're being reintroduced as the version of you that couldn't have existed without the wilderness. This next phase is not a continuation, it is a resurrection. And resurrection doesn't mean putting back the old pieces. It means stepping forward in glory that could only be birthed through surrender. You didn't survive that trial just to testify about it. You survived because God was baking power into your bones. Now you carry the kind of oil that only comes through fire. You carry the kind of weight that cannot be taught, only imparted by God through obedience and crushing. And yes, it cost you. It cost you your reputation in some rooms. It cost you old friendships that didn't understand your consecration. It cost you your comfort, your calendar, your convenience. But that cost was holy, because what you carry now is not common. And what's coming next isn't about return. It's about release. You are being released into a realm of purpose where your name was already etched. You're not being given a shot. You're walking into an inheritance. Not just for ministry, not just for visibility, but for impact. Your wilderness was a weapon, not a detour. The enemy tried to convince you that delay meant denial. He tried to make you believe that silence meant abandonment. He used isolation to whisper lies about your identity. But now you see, the wilderness was holy ground. It wasn't a holding cell. It was a refining furnace. That space where no one clapped, where no one called, where no one posted, praised, or promoted. That was where your roots grew deeper than your reach. That was where your anointing began to mature. That was where heaven removed the counterfeit versions of you and gave birth to the true you, bold, broken, unshakable. Because true authority isn't gained in front of crowds, it's forged in caves. And while the world thought you were quiet, God was loading you with divine strategies, untouchable discernment, unexplainable endurance. You are not coming out soft. You are coming out with sword in hand. Don't let the tears fool them. Don't let the silence confuse them. What was forged in you wasn't fragility, it was fire. And now, you don't just have stories, you have weapons, weapons of wisdom, weapons of worship, weapons of authority, weapons that will dismantle what once terrified you, because your victory wasn't private, it was prophetic. It shifted things in the spirit. It severed old cycles. It shattered generational curses. And now you walk not just as someone who has been freed, but as someone who can free others. You're not a victim of what happened. You're the vessel God chose to survive it. You could have quit. You could have hardened your heart. You could have justified compromise, but you stayed. You endured. You wept. And still, you worshipped. And that kind of obedience? It does not go unnoticed in heaven. There are crowns being placed on heads like yours. Crowns for the intercessors who prayed in obscurity. Crowns for the mothers who warred in silence. Crowns for the rejected prophets who refused to bend their message. Crowns for the wounded warriors who never dropped the sword. You're not walking into favor, you're walking into fulfillment. The promises that felt delayed, they were being tailored for this version of you, because only this version of you, purified, tested, and yielded, could carry them without pride, without compromise, without mixture. Your return isn't just a comeback. It's a coronation. This is why it had to happen the way it did. This is why you weren't allowed to skip the process, because God wasn't building a platform. He was building a throne. And now, you're not stepping back into rooms as a broken person hoping to fit in. You're stepping into rooms as one sent, appointed, marked. You will no longer have to explain why you left. You will no longer need to defend why you changed. The fruit will speak. The fire will confirm. The oil will identify you, and when they see you again, they won't see the wounded version they remember. They'll see the weapon God shaped in silence. You're not done healing, but now you're healing while building perfection. Was never the goal. Power was never about personality. God is not looking for flawless. He's looking for faithful. And now, you build with scarred hands. You speak with a trembling voice. You lead with a heart that still remembers what it cost to get here. But that's the beauty of it, because your vulnerability won't be your liability. It will be your authority. You're not hiding your story. You're using it to unlock others. You're not ashamed of your scars. They're your testimony that healing is real, that freedom is possible, that God really does restore what the enemy meant to destroy. You will be recognized by what you carry, not by who endorses you. This is where heaven marks you publicly. And when people begin to ask, who laid hands on them? Who approved them? Who opened the door? The answer will be clear. God did. The wilderness anointed you. The silence trained you. The pain taught you. And the Spirit released you. You won't need to chase connections. You won't need to convince anyone. The glory will go before you, and the weight you carry will do the talking. You are not just showing up again, you are emerging, transformed, focused, full of fire, and unshakably convinced that this time, it's God who sent you. And because of that, no man can stop you. No system can block you. No devil can drag you back. Because you're not walking in your own strength. You're walking in divine commissioning. You were refined to rule, and heaven is watching you take your place. Chosen one, this is the part they never prepared you for. The part that comes after the fire. The part that follows deliverance. The part that begins when the shouting dies down, when the smoke clears, when the chains fall, and the wilderness ends. Because this is not just about walking out of bondage. This is about walking into dominion. And dominion is not about celebration. It's about responsibility. You are no longer the one trying to escape the storm. You are now the one sent to command it. This is the divine irony. The same territory that tried to kill you is the same ground. God now calls you to occupy. You are not returning to prove anything, you are returning to govern. You are not stepping back into familiar spaces as the wounded one. They will now know you as the Anointed One, not because you raised your voice, but because you carry heaven's voice. The land you cried in is now the land. You'll cultivate this. Next move of God is not just about entering new territory, it's about ruling in it. It's about returning to the same places that rejected you, looked over you, counted you out, and now watching those same places yield to your presence. Because this time, you're not stepping in with wounds, you're stepping in with weight. You don't carry the energy of desperation, you carry the fire of one who's been forged in hidden obedience. And that kind of person cannot be denied. The earth doesn't resist dominion, it responds to it. Where you once wept, you'll now plant. Where you once fought, you'll now build. Where you once bowed under pressure, you'll now stand and speak. Because this is no longer about healing, it's about harvest. You were not just released. You were restored to reign. Dominion doesn't mean control. It doesn't mean platform. It means alignment with heaven's order. It means walking into a room and discerning where disorder has taken root, and releasing peace with your very presence. It means entering a conversation and not just giving opinions, but speaking with divine instruction. It means standing in broken places and becoming a repairer of the breach, not because you're flawless, but because you're faithful. This is what ruling with God looks like. It's not about being above people, it's about being under heaven's authority. Because when you're under God's government, hell can't govern you. And when God trusts you with dominion, He doesn't give you followers. He gives you assignments, people to lead, cities to influence, systems to confront, altars to rebuild. Dominion requires discernment, not just boldness. You must understand, this level isn't loud. It's strategic. You don't move because you're excited. You move because you're sent. At this level, not every open door is yours. Not every opportunity is aligned. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Because the enemy is not only afraid of your fire, he fears your focus. He knows a distracted deliverer is just as dangerous as a silent one. So now, he won't try to trap you with sin. He'll try to trap you with busyness, ego, and applause. But you didn't survive this long to start chasing platforms. You didn't endure the cave to die in the crowd. You weren't crowned to compete. You were crowned to conquer, and conquering looks like saying no when your flesh wants a yes, walking away from noise to protect your oil, obeying God even when man doesn't understand it, praying when everyone else is posting, building altars when others are building brands. Your life is now proof that God still raises deliverers. You are the evidence that God still finds his Davids, that he still anoints Esthers in silence, that he still calls Josephs from prison to palace. You're not carrying a good idea. You're carrying God's strategy. And the fire didn't burn you because it was never meant to. It was only meant to baptize you in clarity. So now your mouth is pure. Your motives are clean. Your discernment is sharp, and your crown is secure. Because what was forged in the wilderness doesn't to melt under pressure. What was born in isolation doesn't fear rejection. What was proven in silence doesn't need applause. You have become unshakable. This is the era where heaven backs your movements. When you speak, it will not just be words, it will be decrees. When you pray, it will not just be hope, it will be harvest. When you build, it will not just be for today, it will create blueprints for generations. And the people around you? They will no longer ask, who do they think they are? They will begin to realize, this one walks with God, because your movements are no longer random, they are royal, they are prophetic, they are precise. You no longer ask for permission, you walk in position. Let every space you enter now bow to the one who sent you. You are not a wanderer anymore. You are not figuring it out as you go. You are sent. And where you are sent, you own the room. Not with pride, but with presence. Not with arrogance, but with anointing. Not to be seen, but to establish. You are a walking embassy of the kingdom of heaven, and every time your feet hit the floor, darkness recognizes that government just arrived. You are not going back to normal. You are not returning to survival. You are stepping into the kind of dominion that shakes cities, rebuilds broken places, and restores identity to everything around you. Because when the case was closed and heaven said free, it also said go. Go and rule, go and release, go and build, go and represent heaven like only you can. The shift is done, the verdict is sealed, and now the crown rests, not for image, but for impact. Walk like it, think like it, lead like it. You are no longer just delivered. You are enthroned in purpose. You are walking in dominion.